crazy story originating in Las Vegas. Is a story unlike anything we've ever seen, at least unlike anything we've ever seen this publicly in college athletics. The story's tied to UNLV starting quarterback. It's a young man named Matt Sluka. He announced last night on social media that he's leaving his team after a 3-0 start featuring victories over two Big 12 schools. They've beaten Houston, they've beaten Kansas. UNLV is ranked 23rd in the coaches poll right now. This team is the highest ranked Group of 5 team in the coaches poll. What that suggests on some level is that UNLV is arguably better positioned than any other Group of 5 school to secure a spot in the first 12-team college football playoff. And the quarterback just walked out on the team.
It's crazy.
Matt Sluka announced, again on social media, it was 9:36 p.m. last night in Las Vegas, that he will utilize a redshirt season and play no additional games this season based on, quote, certain representations that were made to me which were not upheld after I enrolled, end quote. This morning, a man named Marcus Cromartie, who serves as Sluka's NIL representative, he told ESPN's Pete Thamel that his client, Matt Sluka, was promised $100,000 by a UNLV assistant coach when he transferred to UNLV after 4 seasons at Holy Cross. According to Cromartie, none of that money was ever paid. He added that all Sluka ever got from UNLV was a $3,000 relocation stipend after he transferred. According to Cromartie, they never went back and asked UNLV for anything more than what was initially promised after the surprising 3-0 start, after they got ranked. It's not like, hey, you promised us this, and that's cool, but, man, we're really doing well. We want more now or we're leaving. He said they only ever asked for what was initially promised by an assistant coach, $100,000 to transfer from Holy Cross to UNLV. Cromartie said UNLV did not deliver. They had no reason to think UNLV would deliver. So now Sluka's leaving the team to preserve his 5th season of eligibility. He'll redshirt the rest of this season and then transfer, presumably to a school that will actually pay him. Big Bet Bennett, interesting story. I've been looking around the internet this morning. A lot of opinions about it. I've seen some people praise Matt Sluka for standing up to UNLV when allegedly he was screwed by UNLV. Then I've seen others criticize him and call him a, quote, quitter. What camp are you in?
Oh, I don't think he's a quitter. You know, I when we talked about this NIL era over and over again, like, this is a business now. Like, these are paid athletes, man, and they promised this guy they were going to pay him a certain amount of money to come play quarterback for their football team, and they're not. And so, like, the argument that I've seen for him being a quitter is the timing, like, because it's his, you know, you look at your record, you're in the top 25.
If you're going to walk now, you got to walk. If you're going to walk, you got to walk now.
That's right.
Once you play the 4th game, you can no longer use this as a redshirt season.
Right. So that's why the timing is what it is. It doesn't matter, like, what their record is or anything like that. He had to do it now if he was going to do it.
If you are going to hold UNLV accountable and say, if you don't pay me, I'm leaving, you have to do that before Saturday's game.
Yeah.
Because the second you show up for Saturday's game and get on that field, you have participated in 4 games, your leverage is all gone. You can't then retain an entire season of eligibility. So I'm certain on some level they went back to UNLV and said, are you guys seriously not going to make right on this? And I'm certain UNLV is going to say it was a miscommunication, or the assistant coach who supposedly promised this wasn't authorized to do it. Because, to be clear, reportedly, there is no contract here. It was just like, come on to Vegas, and I got $100,000 for you.
There's your problem.
It's on the list of problems. Mm-hmm. And there is a list of problems. So I'm certain they went back to UNLV and said, hey, we were told we were going to get this, and it ain't happening. UNLV was like, well, who told you that? And there's no contract signed, and that person didn't have the power to even make that kind of offer. We don't know how. We never heard anything about this. Everybody will have a story. Mm-hmm. But the only story that matters right now is Matt Sluka's. And what he is saying is, I came to UNLV in part because I was promised $100,000 by somebody on staff.
Yep.
They never delivered, and I am not going to waste, forget year of eligibility, because this is the more accurate way to put it when you're discussing it in this context. Not going to waste my last year of eligibility. What Matt Sluka is announcing to the world is I'm not going to waste maybe my last good year of earning money playing football. Unless you think this guy's going to get drafted by the Dolphins or something. Mm-hmm. And I don't know enough about him to know what that looks like. But we have reached a time in NIL where there are college athletes right now who are making more money on men's college basketball teams and football teams, and I assume some other sports as well. They're making more money right now than they will ever make the rest of their lives doing anything. Probably. Those people exist. And so what Matt Sluka is recognizing, I think intelligently, is clearly there's a market for me. Mm-hmm. I was promised $100,000 a year ago or 6 months ago or whenever he transferred to UNLV. Since then, all I've done is take a football program that has historically struggled, got them off to a 3-0 start, 2 wins over Big 12 schools, and ranked in the top 25 of the coaches poll. I wonder what the market is now. I'm looking around. Looks like Florida State needs a quarterback. Looks like Michigan might need a quarterback. Who wants to buy a quarterback who just led UNLV to a 3-0 start? Right? Mm-hmm. So he will make himself available, and there will be a bidding war that, on some level, that begins. And this time I bet you he'll get it in writing, whatever it is he's after. But it's an interesting dynamic because this is the type of thing that is going on in college athletics right now. Mm-hmm. I've heard this about a lot of schools, a lot of programs, including one program a lot of people watching and listening right now care deeply about. Can't tell you how many times people have asked me, said things like, have you heard if so-and-so is really delivering on the NIL packages they're promising? A lot of promises out there, but I heard sometimes things don't go down the way they're supposed to go down. This happens in college athletics. What we haven't seen this happen this publicly yet until now is something like this. Somebody standing up and saying, give me my money or I'm leaving. Because would you even have the whatever it takes to do that? I don't know that I would. I want to be clear. I respect the young man for standing up. If he was actually promised $100,000 and he actually believed and his family believed that money was coming, and then it was just like, oh, well, sorry. No, that's real money. That's like I can pay off mom's car, pay off part of a mortgage, pay off. It's real money. And again, perhaps the last time in his life he'll be able to earn real money playing football. So clearly, I respect him for, if you promise me this, you ain't delivered, I'm not going to keep doing what I promised to do, which is play football for you, if you ain't going to do what you promised to do, which is deliver me $100,000. Totally makes sense to me. Why I think we haven't seen this previously to this degree, this publicly, is because I think it's still a hard thing to do. It's a very easy thing to say, in a vacuum, you don't give me my money, I'm just leaving. Mm-hmm. That is the way most of us would handle most jobs. I've seen a lot of people compare this to like a normal. This is not a normal job. He's the starting quarterback for a top 25 college football team that perhaps has a chance to be in the college. Not perhaps, definitely has a chance to be in the college football playoff. He's walking away from something he might never get back. He's not just walking away from working at the Flying Saucer. Like, if you don't pay me, I'll leave. All right, I'm leaving. I'll just go hand beers to people somewhere else. You're walking away from 3-0 start, from a chance to maybe create the greatest season in UNLV football history, to be the Group of 5 representative in the first 12-team college football play. It's I don't know that I would be able to walk away from that, even if I felt wronged and was wronged. It's still I think that's why we haven't seen this before, because I bet you there are other players out there who have been misled and, for lack of a better verb, screwed financially with NIL promises that aren't delivered, but they still can't just walk away from their team because they just want to play. So this is a unique situation. I think unless UNLV has a better explanation than what is out there right now, I think the proper thing is to respect the young man for standing on something. And there should be a lesson for everybody involved on all sides. And it's also a reminder of why we do need to clean this up a little bit, if not a lot. And I don't mean it's a shame or it's crazy that these young people are getting. I want them to get everything they can get. If you can turn 100,000 into 200,000, go do that. I'm for people making as much money as they can make, however they can make it. But one of the reasons these types of issues were always going to arise sooner or later is because there is no structure to this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of promises. There's not real contracts. The quote agents, in a lot of cases, who are handling these situations, they're ripping off their clients, and they're not really properly equipped to be dealing with contracts of this magnitude. It's not always actual lawyers who have experience in this. Sometimes it's guys who used to be, the AAU grassroots basketball runners. Well, now, that business is dried up a little bit. So where else can you make money in this world? All right, I'm going to represent student athletes in NIL deals, but are you equipped to do it? Like, have you ever seen like an actual contract that deals with serious money? I can't read them. I turn them over to somebody way smarter than me. I turn them over to somebody and I say, hey, I turn them over to my agent. I say, you read all this and you tell me what you think and then tell me what to sign it and remind me what day it is so I can get the right date on it. But I'm not trying to understand all that. Well, suddenly you got people, so you've got bad contracts, people who don't understand contracts, promises that aren't made real because these contracts aren't public. Like, in the NFL, everything is filed away somewhere. Somebody knows what everybody is making at all times. College athletics is now a big business like that. This is professional sports just played at a university level, and the compensation that is now being delivered to student athletes, in some cases millions of dollars, it should be more structured. I don't mean guardrails. I don't mean limits. I just mean I know when I sign a contract here that I'm going to be paid every 2 weeks or whatever the dates are. I'm not stressed about that. I don't have to wonder about that. If it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen, then I would be legally in the right to recoup my money one way or another. Mm-hmm. These are not worries that normal employees have when they agree to an employment agreement. But in college athletics right now, you're agreeing to stuff and it's not properly documented. It's not properly formatted. In this case, reportedly, it's not even anywhere. There's no paperwork. So the lesson here, if you're a university, make sure you know who's talking for you, who's promising what. Maybe shouldn't be the smartest thing in the world to have assistant coaches out there making six-figure promises to prospects, particularly if the head coach or some big-time booster that everybody is involved with has okayed this. On the student-athlete side, hey, get it in writing. It's cool that somebody said they'd give you $100,000, but like if somebody called me today and said, "Hey, we'd like to fly you to Chicago to participate in some broadcasting seminar, and we're going to cover all your expenses and pay you $10,000," I would say, that sounds like a nice opportunity. I appreciate you reaching out. Can you send over a contract? I have my agent look at it. I'm not just going to fly to Chicago and do the job and be like, "Hey, remember you told me you had $10,000. What's up?" Get it in writing and have real representation. Some advice I heard a long time ago, and you can apply it to anywhere where you might need representation. If you are, with few exceptions, if you're Lady Gaga, you're Lady Gaga, and if you're Taylor Swift, you're Taylor Swift, yep. And Beyonce, you're Beyonce. But with few exceptions, like if you're your agent's biggest client, maybe you need a different agent, particularly if you are a Holy Cross / UNLV type quarterback. If you are the biggest, like maybe, and I should even take that back because I don't know this person, Marcus Cromartie. I don't know he might be as legitimate as they get. I'm just saying there's a lot of illegitimate people out there negotiating deals. And if I were the father of a student athlete or a student athlete. I'd be trying to do business with those types of people as opposed to some of the other people I hear lots of stories about, mostly in the basketball side of things. But they're either amateur hour in their dealings with the coaching staffs and athletic departments, and or totally ripping off the student athletes who just don't know any better and feel like whatever they get is good because, they not too long ago will get nothing. So we were always headed this direction to have a story like this, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes. To be clear, Matt Sluka, announcing something on Instagram isn't binding. You could announce anything on Instagram and then just say, I changed my mind. People do it all the time. So it'll be interesting to see whether he now follows through and he really never plays again for UNLV, or there's a lot of money floating around Las Vegas.
I was gonna say,
if somebody just
can conjure up $100K,
if somebody who's sitting around there and they just love UNLV, and it's like, this is the best season we've ever had potentially. Was it cost $100,000 to keep our quarterback here? Will that work? We'll see. But I bet the story's not over. I bet we talk about it again.
Okay.
Before UNLV takes the field again.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.